the most important thing in the United States.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. We need
Railroads
slaves.
are pretty important too.
If they were important, then we would have more of them in the South.
That's ridiculous.
How is that
No,
ridiculous?
you're wrong.
We need slaves to survive. Yeah, we do. It's important. You're in your industrial.
Pause. Let's rewind to how it all began. In the early 1800s, the U.S. only contained 22 states. Of these, 11 were free states and 11 were slave states. The need for a compromise occurred when Missouri asked for admission into the Union as a slave state. By the turn of the 19th century, slavery had caused outrage to grow, mainly in the northern states. Missouri becoming a slave state enforced the tension between the North and the South.
We, the Northerners, had already feared the expansion of slavery into the Northwest Territory. For this reason, a congressman from New York named James Talmadge proposed that slavery be prohibited in the new state.
Unfortunately, this made the debate over the admission of Missouri extremely bitter.
We, the Southerners, believe that every new state that would be admitted into the Union would have the same rights as the original 13 colonies. They should be able to choose whether or not slavery would be allowed. Senators, such as William Pinckney of Maryland, introduced this statement into Congress.
The bitter debate lasted for 4 months, from December 1819 to March 1820. The end result was that Missouri would be admitted as a slave state, and Maine, formerly a part of Massachusetts, would become a free state. Also, slavery would be prohibited in the Louisiana Purchase lands north of the 30-36 latitude line. However, there was criticism from both sides.
Northerners criticized the Missouri Compromise because Congress had accepted slavery, even though it was limited to the South.
Southerners criticized the Missouri Compromise because it created a principle that Congress would be able to pass laws regarding slavery.
Both sides were unhappy, but the compromise held until 1854, when it was repealed as a part of the Kansas-Nebraska Act. The Kansas-Nebraska Act mandated that popular sovereignty, which allowed settlers of a territory to decide whether slavery would be allowed within a new state's borders, would be applied to territories in the West. Therefore, the Missouri Compromise had an indirect impact on the Civil War. Many historians argue that the repeal of the compromise was more impactful than the compromise itself.